Hello and welcome to another episode of the Eat, Move, Win and the musings of a Bolshie Queenager podcast with me, Emma McElhinney. Today we have the super gorgeous, super lovely, super funny Gerri Campbell from Gerri Campbell Photography. Now, if you are listening to this and not actually seeing the video, before we start, I want you to just imagine somebody that has the coolest specs. That's Gerri. The very first time I met her, it was on a video networking, and this lady popped up on the screen, and it was just this like speed networking. It was really bizarre. And she just had I was like, oh my God, your specs are so amazing. Didn't have a clue who she was, what she did, but like, I need those glasses. So if you've seen me doing my Facebook lives and whatnot, you'll know that I am also a fan of big glasses. So there's this kind of kindred spirit connection that we get with the huge specs. So welcome, Gerri. It's lovely to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
How are you?
All good, thank you very much. Very glad it's Friday.
I know, right? We were just talking before we hit record. We both were at the gym at 7 o'clock this morning, and I was commenting that it's now about 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's the first time I've sat down, and I'm not going to stand up again probably until after 2 o'clock, and I'm a bit worried about the state of my legs.
Yeah, you're saying you're going to stand up, but there could be a
I will have to pee at some point because of the amount of water that I've drank already, so that could be quite traumatic. Quite a traumatic experience. All right, Gerri, so you're here. Tell us all a little bit about you. What do you do? Where do you come from? Just give us some nuggets.
Okay, so I am Gerri Campbell, and as you said, I am a photographer, and I specialise in helping business owners show themselves online, show their personality, show their true selves, so that they attract the right people to them. I see a lot of people that have the kind of neutral, boring, greyish kind of brand photography. And if you're looking for that, please don't contact me, because I'll not be the person for you. I'm all about colourful and vibrancy and kind of these creative business owners, which don't need to be, a lot of people kind of think I just work with artists and creatives, but I don't. I work with lots of different people that are just wanting to own their personality and show that to their people, rather than hiding away and being very boring and very neutral and very forgettable.
It's actually quite funny and quite timely, because this past 4 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks, I have had a little bit of a light bulb ding 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 moment. So up until very recently, I was turquoise with baby pink as my accent color, right? Yeah. And I was talking to a coach of mine, and I was not in a good headspace. I was like, can I ask a question? I was like, what is it? She's like, what's this baby pink all about? She's like, there is literally not one part of you that is baby pink. And I was like, so I had to do a bit of a, those kind of internal deep dives of, oh my God, who am I? Blah, blah, blah. And it came to it, I was like, I've gone with that because I think that that's what people want.
Yeah,
like people, because I work with women over 40. I was like, oh well, most women over the 40, they respond well to these neutral colors and pretty italics and all the rest of it. I was like, hold on a minute, I'm a woman over 40, that's not what I respond to. Well, so I just went mental and just changed everything.
Yeah, I was the same. I had the kind of Tiffany blue and the kind of corally pastel-y wash that was just so insipid, so boring, and so not me. And I actually said to a graphic designer, brand designer, I'm sure you've come across her, Julie Christie Clark.
Yes. Oh, I love her. She is my TikTok hero.
Oh yeah. She's
amazing.
No, but I said to her, what do you think of my branding? And I knew I was in trouble when she said, do you want me to be honest? Oh, that was an expensive.
Do I really?
Anyway, I now have branding that's full of color and full of vibrancy and it's just so much more me. I used to be kind of apologetic about my branding.
Yeah. And that's so interesting, because I was feeling that way about myself, that I was trying to put myself in a box. Yeah. Where I didn't belong. And that was then obviously coming across to potential clients who were just discounting me because there was just this misalignment. They're like, this is this and this are two. There's no connection. And ever since, you know, in this past month, I have not felt more alive. I don't think in my business, like I feel really hopeful. I feel like I've got my jazz back and putting on lipstick and wearing my stripes, you know, I've got all the things. So yeah, I totally resonate with that as well.
I definitely think you're not a baby pink person.
No, I know, and like my mum would tell you, me and my sister were basically two opposites. Like I was very much a tomboy, and the dungarees would have an actual meltdown if she tried to put me in a skirt or pink. And my sister loved the pink and the dresses and the flowers. And so then, because my mum said, she's like, what's that? I'm like, what's that all about? So yeah, so a bit of a journey. And I think a lot of people kind of do that, whether they're business owners or not, once they kind of hit once they get into their 40s and the kind of whole, oh my God, who am I? Yeah, am I too old to be this big personality? Feeling like, for a lot of women in my audience, feel like their body's been taken away from them, feel like their identity's been taken away from them. So I think that's such a key point about, you know, being true to yourself.
Absolutely.
Not just in your, if you've got a brand, just in general, and not feeling that you have to succumb to, I was going to say the Marks and Spencer's clothes, but I actually really love Marks and Spencer's clothes.
They're good. But yeah, I know what you mean. That there's a corner of Marks and Spencer's that you never go to. And you hope never to go to.
But not like, you know, you have that whole, am I too old for this? And my husband goes absolutely mental. And I say, is this really mumsy? And he's like, but you're a mum. I was like, that's not what I mean. I just don't like, I know. So it's such a key message about being true to you and really tuning in to your quirks and your personality and being the person you want to be. And that's not saying that the pastels and the italics don't have a place, because they absolutely do. And I feel when I meet other entrepreneurs and they have got that kind of branding, I'm just always like, oh my God, you're so pulled together and you're so sophisticated, and it really, really works for them. And then, but I'm not. I am put together and I can be sophisticated, but in a very different way.
And that's the thing, they've got to work together. They've got to, when somebody meets you and they've seen all your branding and everything, they've got to go, right, yeah, I get it. That's who she is. But if there's this disconnect, then they're going, well, what the heck was that about?
And I really felt that there was. And if you've gone through that journey as well, you'll know exactly what that feels like. And it's not just the impact on, you know, loss of clients or like loss of money. You're kind of losing a sense of yourself, because you know subconsciously that you're not being true to who you are, and that's so damaging, don't you think?
I think definitely. And I think in your 40s, well, I'm in my 50s, but I think in your 40s, when you kind of, your life changes and you're changing and there's all sorts of changes going on, you are a bit lost. So you kind of think, well, this is what I should be doing. I hate that word should. You know, this is what I should be doing. And you think, says who? Who says you should be, you know, that kind of, so yeah, I think being true to yourself, being authentic, genuine is so important in all aspects of life.
Oh, I love it. It is so interesting how you have got a really solid career in photography. I have got a really solid career in nutrition and health coaching, and we're both trying to get to the same goal. That's amazing. I just think that's absolutely incredible. So much fun. So one of your big things is about helping business owners be their true self and get photos taken and show themselves, showcase them. I've done a couple of brand photos, a couple of brand shoots, one of which was in my brand pants, right? That was the very first one. In a gym with loads of people, something like that. That was awful. Anyway, but so how do you help people? Like, because most women that I know certainly don't love getting their photos taken.
No.
How do you help people step into themselves and get a good photo that they love?
So I think, I've yet to meet anybody that loves getting their photograph taken. Like, it's a very daunting prospect having a camera pointed at you. You know, it's very, very intimidating, and it's also very intimate to spend this time with a photographer. So the way I do it is I spend a lot of time beforehand getting to know the person and getting to know the business. When I did family photography, it was getting to know the family and all about them and what, you know, what they did as a family and all that kind of thing. So that then when I turned up, it was like we knew each other already. We could talk about things. We could, you know, we would laugh about things. And because I'm attracting now the people, I call them my bananas, but you know what I mean? Like they're my people and I'm their person kind of thing. It just becomes like you're working with a friend. So the self-consciousness has gone. Obviously, initially there's that kind of like shoulders up and they're all just feeling a little awkward.
If every single person's initial photo of this.
Yes, that cheesy and you know the turtleneck. But what I do actually is, you know, and I'll kind of say, no, you need to sit up a wee bit straighter and all that kind of thing. And you can see them thinking, but what I do is I take a photo of them to start with that's maybe not such a good photograph. And then I say, right, so see if you just do this and this and this. And then I show them the back of my camera and and then they're like, okay. And it's not like, they're not like a supermodel and they're, you know, doing ridiculous poses. I'm literally just giving them tips to, you know, sit up straighter and lean from the waist, all these kind of ideas. But I spend the whole time showing the back of my camera because what I think is a nice photograph of somebody is not necessarily what they think is a nice photograph, because we've all got our, you know, like I've got a big nose and I'm very self-conscious about that. So I don't want anything that's going to make my nose look bigger. It doesn't need to look bigger than it. Do you know that? So somebody could take a photograph of me and go, well, that's lovely. And then I look at it and think,
and you're like, oh my God.
You know, that is never going to see the light of day. So I constantly show the back of my camera, which a lot of photographers don't do because they're quite precious about their art. And they want to kind of go and do their editing and do everything and then show the finished article kind of thing. So I spend a lot of time beforehand and then I spend a lot of time during the shoot showing them so that there's no, I don't want anybody to get their gallery and it's like this horrible shock. You know, like, dear God, this is just, you know, I look awful, I look heavier than I am, I look older than I am, I just don't look like me. Because a lot of people, they get photographs that maybe look like them but don't feel like them. You know, you have to get both, you know, you have to get both married up. And that's why, so by the end of the shoot, it really is like we're just chatting and then I'll go, right, do this. And they're fully into it then, you know, it's that kind of, so they're nervous, but they're not maybe as nervous as they would be because they feel like I'm a friend.
They're already there.
And then there's a lot of hand holding throughout.
It's such a fascinating process. Like I've only done 1, 2 where I've been fully dressed, but
that sounds bad.
I know. Well, there has been the last one that I did half naked in a gym. It did not go out. There's probably out of 100 pictures, there's probably 3 that I've let see the light of day because I'm just like, I look hideous and it just wasn't right. But one of the things that surprised me about the more like posed but trying to look natural was how uncomfortable some of the positions are that make you look good, and you're like, there's a reason why people don't sit like this every single day.
Well, and I always say to them, you know, like kind of like I said, you might feel really silly but it looks really good. So just for a second do it, and then I show them the back of the camera and they're like, okay, I'm in.
How did that work? I look tall and I look lean and that's incredible. Absolutely. And what, see, when you're working with your clients, are they mostly females?
Yes.
Yeah. One of the big things, certainly in my audience, is confidence and body confidence. But actually body confidence is never truly body confidence, because most people don't lose weight and suddenly become body confidence from the inside. What kind of things, like what have you noticed with your clients that kind of helps them take themselves away from that, oh my God, I don't like my body, I don't like my face because I'm just thinner, all that negative self-talk?
So I think a lot, so even when I was doing family photography as well, it was the same. But when I'm dealing with business owners, they get that they have to be the face of their business. So they get that. Once I've spoken to them, they've kind of realize they've got to do that if they want to grow their business. So then they just need to find the photographer that's going to help them do that, that's going to be, and I am not the photographer for everybody. I get that, you know, if you're quiet and shy and just introverted and just want to have photos, then I'm probably not the photographer.
I would suspect you'd probably be quite scary in
Oh,
that
no,
respect.
no. I'm not
Not to everybody, but to the individual that
but
doesn't.
To the more introverted ones, like I would be too much, and they would be too quiet for me. So we wouldn't work well together. Do you know what I mean? They wouldn't give me kind of any kind of creative energy. It would be kind of like we'd both just be. So finding the right photographer is a huge thing, because they've got to be like you, get you, understand you, see, you know, what you're all trying to do. And I think the whole, once you know that you have to put yourself out there, it's knowing that your photographer is going to help you get photographs. And nobody, you know, it's not like you don't want a photographer that's going to do this serious editing that's going to, like, you know, crop you in and elongate you and smooth out your skin.
Can you do that? That would be amazing, thanks.
I'm booked. But you don't want that. But you want a photographer that's got tips and tricks that will just make you feel confident about putting yourself out there. That's what it's all about.
Yes.
Because it is a funny, I mean, social media is such a weird thing, putting yourself out there, laying yourself bare, you know, opening yourself up to not criticism, but kind of people.
It is.
Well, you know, people feel like they can say whatever they want to you.
I know. It's like that whole comfort zone thing is terrifying, because, like, speaking from a coaching perspective, I went into it to help people be better and to be healthier and to live longer and enjoy life. And at that point, you're like, oh, I'm going to have to really put myself out there, because if I want to be noticed, then I have to be noticeable.
Yeah.
And that for a lot of people is like, oh my God, because our kind of generation, like, we are probably the last generation that grew up without social media. So for a lot of people in their 40s and their 50s, they can take it or leave it. It doesn't need to be part of their life. But then you come into the online space, it has to be a big part of your life. And you're flinging yourself out there left, right. I mean, I'm like 45 years old and I'm on bloody TikTok, like.
Dancing, I hope.
No, I did promise when I started I said there will be no dancing, and I will not be in my pants either. Like, and especially no dancing in my pants.
I was going to say, combining both, that's like a Friday night activity.
No one needs to see that. Luckily, the era of that actually happening, of me dancing in my pants in public, there was no such thing as camera phones. So there's absolutely no evidence that happened.
You escaped. But yeah, I mean, social media is a horrible, and it's a scary place, and it's daunting and intimidating and all the rest. But if you're a business owner, you've kind of got no choice. People want to know who they're doing business with. Yeah. So I'm all about putting yourself out there with confidence, because you're confident that you love your photographs. You're confident they look and feel like you. They are you. You know, you are your brand. You are your business, and you'll put your photos, you know, out there. A bit like when you said you got your photographs taken and you used 3 of them or something. That's like,
that was a waste of 3 hours of my life, quite frankly.
3 hours of your life. I'm sure it cost you money, and you know, it's not. You know, you want your photographs, they're an investment. You want them to work for you, and you want to love them and love the way you look. So you're confident every day. You're like, yeah, that's fine.
And it has to, it's like, it is a rush, like doing things like that. It's like you come away from it like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. And,
and especially when you know, like, you don't have to wait 3 weeks for your gallery. You've seen the back of your camera. So you think, right, yeah, I'm really excited now about getting these, about putting myself out there, about, you know, that kind of. And you do feel good about yourself. You're feeling, because you're looking your best self. You want to look like yourself, but you're looking your best self. You put your lip on, you've brushed your hair.
Much like me, that
yes, a bit like bigger. And you know, you've got a clean top on and things, you know, that kind of thing. So you are feeling good about yourself, and you're putting your best self out there without it being this stupid Insta perfection nonsense that doesn't exist.
I know, and I think that really resonates, especially with like my audience, you know, over 40s, I could filter myself up to the max and have perfect cut crease eyeshadow, which I actually don't know how to do, so I couldn't have that. But, you know, there is an element of you attract who you want, and people be attracted to people that kind of mirror them in a certain respect. And, you know, could you, like, I can't imagine the life or the hours it takes for the super duper preened people to get ready. Like, I was talking to a friend of mine who's got a daughter who's like 5th year at school, and she takes an hour to get her makeup on in the morning like that.
To go to school?
And I'm like, I don't even understand what you would need to do
For an hour?
For an hour with your makeup like that. Put some foundation on, some eyeliner, and
I don't even do that for a Saturday night out.
I don't even know what a Saturday night out is anymore. Like,
but if I was to go out, I wouldn't take an hour.
I know, and that's the thing. Like, going back to, like, nobody is perfect. Nobody has the perfect face. Nobody has the perfect body. Nobody has the perfect anything. And what is really beautiful about your photos, because I've had a nosy quite a few times, and I'll tell you that off air as well. But what is really beautiful is about showing the real person. Like, you know, I've got a really goofy smile and a rubbery face, and yeah, I would love to look chiseled but that's not me.
No.
And the real beauty in photos is seeing that true personality shine through, and just feeling that individual has got passion for whatever their brand is, whatever it is that they do. And I think that's the true joy. And all photographs, not brand photographs, it's just like the snaps down the beach with the kids, like seeing that true joy shine through. And most women would look at their photos, holiday photos, day out photos, and they're like, oh my God, my hair's manky, or I look chunky, or whatever it is. And you're like, but actually just how beautiful that moment actually is.
The moments, and the thing is nobody is as critical about you than you are. Nobody's looking at oh, my hair's dirty, or I need my roots done, or I've not lost my Christmas half stone, or you know, nobody cares. They're looking at the moment. They're looking at like when I used to do family photography, I was all about, I never had everybody just standing and kind of, I was all about children running up and the, you know, big hugs, and, you know, kind of almost, it showed emotion, but it also kind of showed moments and movement. And that's why I like in my brand photographs as well. I love like business owners laughing at I love nothing more than a photograph of somebody laughing, because I just think it just is so expressive, and you can see the person, and the further they're throwing their head back, the better, and you know, that kind of thing. So I'm all about the moments, the emotion, the love, the kind of, nobody else is looking at your double chin or your, you know, sandy hair from the beach, or, you know, whatever. Nobody could care. Nobody could care.
If anybody's watching the video of this, I do accept that you might care about the horrificness of my roots. It's okay for you to
really see you're saying that, and I hadn't. So now I've looked at your roots and thinking they're not that bad, but I hadn't even noticed them.
That's actually because I put root spray on to try to disguise.
But that's how bad we are, is we all make it.
I know, we're so critical.
It's like if somebody says to you, oh, I love your outfit, you always go, oh, it's really cheap, and it's just, why are you explaining how much you paid for it? Somebody's just giving you a compliment. You should say thank you.
I know. That was I had a wee moment of a learning from my little boy. He's 11 and he got his school report yesterday. It's his final, he's in P7 going into F1. So it's his final school report, and it was brilliant. Like, you couldn't ask for anything more. And I was tucking him in at bedtime, and I was like, do you know, I'm really proud. I'm not just proud of the report, but I'm proud of like all the things that you've done over this year to make sure that you're still learning and all the rest of it. And I was like, are you quite chuffed? And he's like, yes, I am very proud of myself. I think I've done really well. And I was like, that's what it's about, is having that inner confidence.
Absolutely.
That you can do well, that you, instead of just going, well, do you know, I could have done better here, here, and here, and here, which is kind of what happens as we get older. We start doubting our own skills. And
I think as well, I think it's as we get older, we doubt everything, and all this kind of, it creeps in. But I do think it's a kind of male-female thing as well. Men just are like, all right, thanks. They don't kind of go, oh, but I've put half a stone on and my jeans are a bit tight, and who's caring? nobody said, it's that we just can't take a compliment, and we can't, instead of like, that's great, you're a wee boy, just going, yeah, no, I'm really proud.
Yeah, I did well.
And he should be.
Mm-hmm.
And we should do that more often. We should say, yeah, I have done well, or I've overcome this, or, I've reached my 40s and I've done this, and I've got so much more to look forward to.
Yeah. Love it. Oh, love it, love it, love it. Oh my God, I feel like we could literally just sit and talk.
I know.
All day.
I've got all day if you want to.
Oh, I've got a perimenopause masterclass to do at 12 o'clock.
Okay, wow. That's a good one. That's a good one.
I went live into my membership group earlier, and I was actually feeling quite nervous about it. And I don't know why, because I do these masterclasses all the time. Mm-hmm. And I went into my group and I was like, right, ladies, if any of you are free at 12, please come on please come on the masterclass just to give me honors. And then I remembered that like at least 50% of the group are actually English or Welsh or Irish. And I was like, for those of you not Scottish, honors means you've got my back and you're gonna get honors. Right, okay, Gerri. So how can people find you? Where can they find you?
I generally hang out on Instagram. So I'm Gerri Campbell, brand photography on Instagram. And I talk a lot about confidence and, putting yourself out there. And I also share tips and tricks on how to look better if you're taking selfies, how to look better so that you're confident to put yourself out there. And my website is gerricampbellphotography.com.
Fab. And the selfie thing, right? So Gerri's actually got a really good resource for everybody, not just business owners, about taking selfies. So Gerri, going to tell us about what you've got for selfies.
Yes. So I know a lot of business owners and women, just not that you don't need to be a business owner, that try to take a selfie and they've got no idea what it is that they're doing wrong, and they end up with these photos that they look 20 years older and 4 stone heavier than they actually are. So I have got a course, and it's just quick, bite-sized, easy to follow videos. I think there's about 15 of them that you can just watch and go through, and then you know exactly what you're doing when you're taking a selfie. When you need a selfie for your socials or for anything, you're going to grab this photo, you're going to nail it first time, every time, job done, move on with your day. And then your visibility goes up as well, if you are a business owner. But it also means it's good for your selfies, but it also means that you know what you're doing. If you're, when you've got no control, if somebody else is taking your photo and you've got no control, it gives you that kind of like, just do this a wee bit.
And it means that you don't have to rely on filters because you look amazing.
Don't use filters. You don't need them. This is a filterless course, because if you do everything that you need to do, you don't need a filter. So you still look like you, but you look the best version of you. And it's going to save you so much time.
And it'll save you storage on your phone, because you won't end up with like 200 pictures of you going, and having the double chin. Like,
and that horrible angle that you're leaning back and your bazonkies are out here.
I don't ever have that problem. Like, I don't have them to do that with.
Oh, do you know? No. I've got an ample bosom. So yes,
I was delighted when I got pregnant, because I was like, yes, they're gonna grow. And the biggest they got to was a C cup for a week, and then they just went back to an A cup. So I was like, that was a bit shit. Obviously, having a beautiful, happy baby boy was like the best bit, but
the C cup was a bonus.
Yeah, for a week. Yes. Anyway, right. All right. Thank you for listening. I will pop Gerri's Instagram handle and link to course, said selfie course, underneath. Wherever you're listening this, you'll get the links. And it was absolutely fabulous to talk to you. So thank you very much for coming along today.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a good day.